everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the various building stages. But in our previous video, we started with the pre-construction phase. If you've not seen my videos on that, please do where to do that, okay? So moving forward, today we are going to be talking about the construction phase, and the construction phase we'll be looking into is the word substructure phase of the building process. And you know, a perfect understanding of the basic of building construction is the first step to a successful construction project. But please note, so before you build any house, I trust that you employ the skill of a professional. Okay, the first on our list today is what? The site clearance. And you know, the term site refers to what? An area or piece of land on which building construction works are being carried out. Site clearance can be done manually or with the use of machines. Site clearance is carried out to prepare a site for construction. Now, it involves clearing the site from all unwanted materials. Please note, before you start clearing, you should have the site waste management plan. You have to know how to dispose those materials legally. The next we're going to be discussing today is the construction of temporary facilities. The temporary facilities such as engineer office, labor quarters, material storage room, and electrical supplies and other related facilities should be constructed prior to the start of work. And you can actually use this for your project, okay, smaller projects like so, because it's quite economical. Okay, please note, as you're constructing this temporary facility, do where to construct a fence. This will create closure. The next stage you'll be talking about is what? Setting out. Okay, and when you talk about setting out, what comes to your mind? Let me tell you, there's a process whereby the information on your drawing is being transferred to the ground. That is what setting out is. Okay, now this process enables what? The establishment of setback, establishment of trench part, and basically the perimeter of the house and the parts where each wall will follow. Setting out plan on ground is one of the most significant steps in building construction, and any error at this stage would cause considerable problems if it is not tackled immediately. And most of the problem that can occur is what we call, one of it is gross error. Okay, basically this gross error takes into consideration the account of human oversight and other mistakes while reading and recording. So to avoid these errors, proper care should be taken while reading and recording the data. So the next stage we'll be discussing today is what? The excavation stage. Yes, and when you talk about excavation, this is a process which involves the removal of the topsoil, which could be any vegetative or decaying matter, which could make the soil compressible and therefore unsuitable for bearing structural loads. Most times for small buildings, excavation is carried out manually with hand, with the use of simple tools like diggers, spades, and the rest of it. And in case of large buildings and deep excavation, mechanical earth cutting equipment can be used. Now listen, the depth of the excavation is gotten from the structural design, so it is not a guesswork. It is already there in the structural drawings. Okay, and again, for hard soils, when the depth of the excavation is less than 1.5 meters, the sides of the trenches do not need any external support. But if the soil is loose or the excavation is deeper, some sort of soring is required. And when I talk about soring, I mean providing support for the trench faces, which prevents movement of the soil, so it avoids collapse or collapse of the soil back into the trench. Okay, so this support system prevents such from happening, and any material that is not suitable for filling should be disposed, and it should be disposed legally. Yes. Now, after the trenches has been dug, the column base will be dug as well. So the process of digging the trenches, they also dig the column base, and after the soil has been excavated and leveled to create a base, the next step is to lay a layer of a plain cement concrete, that's the PCC, and it provides a clean level base for the foundation and prevents the penetration of moisture and other contaminants from the soil into the foundation. The PCC is mostly made with a mixture of cement, sand, and coarse aggregate, and the thickness is normally recommended in the structural drawings. Alright, the next stage we are going to be talking about today is mounting of reinforcement baskets and columns to foundation. This stage requires preparation of reinforcement to meet up with the design detail. Once the reinforcement baskets and columns have been prepared to detailing, make sure during the placement of the basket to the column base, the surface area is free from any red mud. You can as well use water to flush away any sand to keep the surface clean. One more thing, during that erection of the column to the basket, please make sure that all the columns are perpendicular to the foundation trench and in line with each other. Okay, take note of that. And that will take us to the next stage, and our next stage is what? Casting of column base. The casting of the column base is the second stage after mounting of the reinforcement basket and columns to their respective positions. This process involves what? The mixing of sand, cement, aggregate, and water in a specific concrete ratio that will be gotten from the structural details. Now, what I want you to take note of is that care must be taken to ensure that there is adequate provision for cover before placement of the mixed concrete to the position. Please don't forget. And again, during placement, ensure not to pour the mixed concrete from a high distance to avoid separation of the materials, and this can lead to poor concrete strength. Please take note of that. Now, the next stage we are going to be talking about is the casting of foundation trench. Once the column base casting has been completed, it is time to cast the whole foundation trench. The thickness of the concrete required is gotten from the structural engineer. Please note, care should be taken to ensure that the proper mixed ratio from the structural design details is adhered to, and during placement of concrete, the concrete should be placed at a level closer to the foundation. Now, the next we are going to be talking about is laying of blockwork to the DPC. It is a very important stage, and of course, care should be taken to ensure all work done at this stage meets the design. Okay. Now, the mix ratio of the mortar can be taken to be 1:4. Okay, but you can make references to the structural design to get your exact ratio. After taking the block work to the DPC level, it is time to start the wood formwork. You will need to look out for a very good professional carpenter to start budging the space between the starter columns and the block work. Please ensure that the formwork are done properly to avoid wastage of concrete during casting or pouring of the mixed concrete. Now, the next stage is what we call casting of the starter columns. The concrete should be mixed very well with good quality water that is free from every form of impurities before casting. The pouring of concrete should be done gently and well vibrated in order to avoid honeycombs at different areas of the column, as you can see. It is advisable to allow the concrete to cure very well before removing the boards. Okay, and most times within 24 hours to be removed. Now, the next stage we are going to be talking about is the sand filling to the DPC. And remember, the DPC is a damp-proof course. Okay. Now, it is advisable to fill your foundation.
You also backfill it. Okay, and also you water your foundation
for differential settlement. Then after doing that, you go ahead to do what is called compacting like so. A damp-proof membrane is placed to prevent water from rising through. Okay. Now, the next stage we are going to be talking about is the casting of the DPC. As I said earlier, the DPC is also known as a damp-proof course. Now, casting of the DPC require preparation of wood formwork around the edges of the house. Once the formwork is ready, casting of the DPC can be done by pouring the mixed concrete gradually until you arrive at the required thickness. Please ensure that the concrete is properly vibrated and the thickness level is properly followed. With this, we have come to the end of today's video. In our next video, we'll be talking about the superstructure. So stay tuned with us, and please, if you have not subscribed, kindly do so. Okay.